The city had stood for centuries. From afar, its towering walls looked eternal, carved from stone that had witnessed the rise and fall of kings, the march of armies, and the endless turning of time. At dawn, the markets awakened with the sounds of merchants opening wooden stalls. The scent of bread drifted through narrow streets, and children ran between the stone arches laughing, unaware that history was already moving toward them. High above the city, banners fluttered from the citadel. They carried the colors of a proud kingdom, symbols of a power that believed itself unbreakable. But beyond the distant hills, like dust was rising, an army was coming, and by the time the sun would rise again, the city would no longer belong to those who had built it. At first, the rumors came quietly. A caravan arrived at the southern gate carrying exhausted travelers. Their clothes were torn, their faces pale. They spoke of villages burned in the night, of soldiers who moved like shadows, of banners no one had seen before. Inside the royal palace, the king listened in silence. His advisors argued around him. Some believed the stories were exaggerated, others feared the worst. But the general of the city's army, an old warrior named Marcus, did not doubt what was coming. He had seen the signs before. Empires did not announce their arrival with diplomacy. They arrived with fire. "Send scouts," Marcus ordered. "Strengthen the gates, double the watch on the walls." Yet even as the soldiers prepared, the city continued its daily rhythm. Blacksmiths hammered iron. Priests lit candles in ancient temples. Musicians played in the taverns. Few believed the war would truly reach them. After all, the city had never fallen. Not once, not in hundreds of years. 3 days later, the scouts returned. They came riding hard through the northern gate. Their horses collapsed from exhaustion, and their message froze the blood of everyone who heard it. The army approaching the city was not small. It was massive, thousands upon thousands of soldiers. Rows of infantry stretching across the plains like a moving forest of spears. Cavalry units circling the flanks like wolves, and behind them, enormous siege engines dragged by oxen. Towers, catapults, battering rams. This was not a raid. This was a conquest. The invaders had not come to negotiate. They had come to take the city. The gates were sealed. Massive iron bars locked the entrances. Every able-bodied man was ordered to the walls. Women carried water and stones to the battlements. Archers positioned themselves in towers overlooking the plains. From the highest watchtower, General Marcus stared toward the horizon. And then he saw them, a dark line stretching across the earth. The invading army had arrived. Drums began to echo across the valley. Boom, boom, boom. The sound carried for miles, and like the heartbeat of war itself, citizens gathered on rooftops and walls to watch. Some prayed, others wept. Many simply stood in silence. Because now the truth could no longer be denied. The city was surrounded. At sunrise, the horn sounded. The enemy army began to move. Shields raised, spears forward. Thousands of soldiers marching in perfect formation. From the walls, archers drew their bows. Marcus raised his hand and then, "Fire!" A storm of arrows darkened the sky. They fell upon the advancing army like rain. Men screamed, shields shattered. But the army did not stop. Step by step, they continued forward. Then the siege engines moved. Massive catapults hurled stones the size of boulders toward the city walls. The ground shook with each impact. Towers splintered, stone cracked. The defenders fought desperately. Boiling oil poured from the battlements. Archers fired until their fingers bled. But the invaders kept coming. Because they had one advantage the defenders did not. Time. They could wait. The city could not. Days turned into weeks. The siege tightened like a noose. No food entered the city. No messenger escaped. Inside the walls, hunger began its slow, cruel work. Bread grew scarce, water became precious. In the streets, once full of laughter and trade, silence spread. People whispered about surrender, but the king refused. "This city has never fallen," he declared. "It will not fall now." Yet Marcus knew the truth. Walls alone do not save a city. A city survives through hope, and hope was fading. One night, without warning, the sky turned red. The enemy launched their greatest assault. Siege towers rolled toward the walls. Ladders rose in the darkness. Fire arrows streaked through the air like comets. Flames spread across rooftops, smoke filled the streets. The battle raged through the night. Steel against steel, shouts echoing between burning buildings. For the first time in centuries, enemy soldiers stepped onto the city walls. And once that happened, where the end had begun, by dawn and the gates were broken. The invading army poured into the streets. Chaos erupted. Soldiers clashed in alleyways. Citizens fled through smoke and fire. The royal palace became the final battlefield. General Marcus fought at the front of his remaining men, but they were outnumbered, exhausted. Surrounded one by one, the defenders fell. And finally, the banner of the conquering army rose above the citadel. The city had been taken. After centuries of standing unconquered, it had fallen in a single terrible night. War changes everything but cities, and remember, years later, travelers walking through the streets could still see the scars. Broken towers, burned gates, walls rebuilt with different stone. The conquerors ruled from the palace. Their banners flew where the old kingdom's flag once stood. Yet beneath the new empire, the spirit of the old city remained. Because cities are not only made of stone, they are made of stories. Stories of courage, of loss, of resistance, and of the day when a proud city stood against an empire and became legend.